Alright, what's going on, you guys? It's Royce Jacob. Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to be talking about how Churchill Capital and or CCIV stock is popping off. As many of you know, CCIV is one of the names that I featured in my top 3 stock picks for the month of July video. So I could not be more stoked that we're kicking off the new month with this type of price action. And I also could not be more confident in the fact that more bullish price action is still ahead of us. Okay, so let's talk some price targets. Let's talk some fundamentals as well. As always, we'll quickly go over the topics we're going to be discussing and then we'll dive in. Okay, in front of us is TradingView, where of course we will be taking a look at CCIV on the chart today, talking technicals. I do also want to give you guys my price targets on the short, medium, and longer term time horizons because I do see potential for each. But before we dive into the charts and talk those technicals, I do want to set that fundamental base layer for our bullish argument by reading over this short article with you guys titled CCIV stock 5 reasons Churchill shares are climbing ahead of a Lucid Motors merger. So this article, short, sweet, and to the point, it sums up why not only I'm fundamentally bullish on CCIV at this point in time for the month of July, but why many other investors are as well. So we'll kick off the video by reading this. But before we do dive into all of the good stuff, I will ask you guys, as always, to please give the video a like if you do go on to gain value from it today, or if you're bullish on CCIV and Lucid Motors like I am myself. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, want to catch more content like this. As many of you know, we've been talking a lot of EVs lately. Single sector I'm most bullish on in the market at this point in time, so it's super exciting talking about these EVs and green energy stocks. And if you do want to know how I'm personally trading CCIV along with all the other names you see on the watch right here, all these exciting EV green energy plays and many other exciting plays as well, not only in the EV sector but many other sectors, please check out Complete Portfolio daily newsletter. First link down in the description. This is exactly as it states, a complete breakdown of my entire portfolio, my personal portfolio, how I personally construct my portfolio, call options, put options, stock positions, cryptocurrency positions. And I do update this every single trading day with every trade I make during market hours. And along with every update, I do send out a complimentary email newsletter explaining my thoughts. Even if I'm not making trades, I usually make trades, but even if I don't make trades and I feel like there's a chart that I want to show you guys or I'm excited about, I will throw in a chart, throw in some price targets, and just celebrate with you guys if that's the case. Okay, so 15 bones a month, first link down in the description. Really means a lot if you guys check that out. I do a lot to make that worth the hard-earned money that you're paying for it. So again, really means a lot, but if not, no worries. I appreciate you guys giving me your time right now. So once again, we will dive into the charts after this article. Let's just kick it off with the good old fundamentals. Here are a few of the catalysts driving CCIV stock higher today. Shout out Chris McDonald of Investor Place. This is a solid article. Always want to give credit where credit's due. Okay, so ahead of the highly anticipated merger with Lucid Motors, investors in Churchill Capital or CCIV stock have started to see some positive momentum. Indeed, CCIV stock closed higher by nearly 10% on heavy volume today. These recent moves come amid a resurgence in the growth stock market. Investors appear to be willing to risk more capital in the markets today than ever before. And amid this risk on sentiment, SPACs and de-SPAC companies are once again finding momentum. You'll love to see it again. A big reason why I'm so bullish on the EV/green energy sector, primarily the smaller cap plays within that sector. Okay, that said, Churchill Capital is a company with its own set of catalysts right now. Let's dive into 5 of the key factors driving CCIV shares higher today and again throughout the course of this month. These are just solid fundamentals that will resonate for at least the short to medium term. All right, CCIV stock higher on key catalysts. Perhaps the key catalyst driving shares of CCIV stock higher today is pre-order data. The company reported recently that it had just reached a new milestone with respect to pre-orders. In fact, the company boasts having 10,000 pre-orders for its flagship Lucid Air vehicle, 5 figures. These pre-orders are bona fide reservations with appropriate deposits. That was a quote. Indeed, Lucid is being careful to specify this given the pre-order fiascos we've seen with other EV players. Again, you want to keep things as transparent as you can. Many of you know some of the faults that have happened in the space in the past. Additionally, in the company's press release, Lucid CEO Peter Rawlinson made some interesting comments. He said the following of the prospective 2-horse race between Tesla and Lucid. Quote, Ultimately, it's a technology that's going to win, and what's missing here is a recognition that this is a technology race. And right now, there's one runner in that tech race, and it's Tesla. That's why Tesla commands that market cap. That's why it's in that preeminent position. We would have world-class technology, and we aim to make this a two-horse race. So again, you guys, this is kind of, a tale as old as time as far as EVs are concerned. It's pretty much Tesla versus everybody. And of course, there are many players that are vying in the space. Even companies like Ford, GM, Volvo, like pretty much every car company is at this point transitioning to making electric vehicles. So the market is going to become that much more saturated. I will say right now, the big reason from a fundamental longer term perspective that I personally like Lucid Motors is because they are targeting that luxury market. So of course, Tesla makes their higher end models, makes their more luxury models, and other companies will as well. But Lucid, if you guys haven't seen their cars, go watch that CCIV Lucid Motors solo analysis video I did probably a month ago at this point, a few weeks back at this point. But we take a look at the car, all the models, and these things are absolutely sick. I would definitely cop one of these over a Tesla personally. Okay, on top of this press release, Everscore ISI came out impressed by Lucid's product line following a test drive of the Grand Touring Edition Air. Indeed, Evercore appears to be more bullish than ever on Lucid's products after assessing its product line as well as its pre-order increase and its potential commercialization ramp. These comments were compounded by a walkthrough of Lucid's flagship New York studio, which Evercore noted similar enthusiasm for. You love to see a good brick and mortar, love to see a good HQ. Finally, the company's upcoming merger vote is increasingly being seen as the buy the news event. Should shareholders vote as investors expect, Churchill could see additional buying pressure over the near term. Okay, so as we covered in the last EV stock talk, CCIV, that shareholder meeting, the meeting where they discuss whether or not this merger will occur with Lucid Motors, is happening on July 22nd. Okay, so mark that date if you guys are personally keeping an eye or trading CCIV stock as a potential buy the hype, sell the news event. Okay, so be careful for that. That's always an opportunity. But if they do get the green light, if they do go ahead with that merger will occur on July 23rd, okay? So if it happens, it's good news. If it doesn't, again, there's still a lot of anticipation surrounding the stock. Once again, classic buy the hype, sell the news. If the merger does not get approved, then that's obviously bearish news for the stock. But if it does, I would be surprised if we do see a run up prior to that. And once it gets approved, I would not be surprised at all if it continues to run, because CCIV still has like just a $7.5 billion market cap, okay? When you compare that to other players in the space, Tesla, obviously, at a way grander scale, that's for sure. But Tesla, multi-$100 billion market cap, on its way to $1 trillion. So it just shows that in the grand scheme of things, CCIV is still somewhat of a drop in the bucket in terms of market cap, okay? So that's the fundamental argument once again. Let's cover some technicals. As you guys can see right here, bull flags on bull flags. You absolutely love to see it. You can't not be bullish when there's this many bull flags in front of you. So as we covered in the past few videos, again, CCIV played out this bigger bull flag, pretty janky bull flag, arguably even a bull flag at that. But what I'm seeing here is a classic example of the waves fam trademarked to wave theory, okay? So again, first wave up, you see that nice big parabolic run, bubble pops, not quite a bubble, I just use it to say that. It peaks out, collapses a little bit, goes sideways, capitulates, forming somewhat of a bull flag, and then breaks out. So again, CCIV did play this out as a bull flag, playing out this two wave. And as you guys know, the second wave is always significantly greater than the first. So we are in the process of breaking out of this shorter term bull flag right here. Did draw this line, just this random arrow of bullishness a few days ago when we broke out of this smaller bull flag following the breakout of the resistance of this other bull flag. So we are on a beautiful trajectory. Today, what happened was very bullish. With this 10% move up, we did see a break of this previous high. So right now, if CCIV comes down, I doubt it'll come back down past this level right here, past like 27.87, I guess, if you want to get super specific. Maybe CCIV comes down a little bit in the very, very short term, like the next 4-hour candle, to retest that initial high. But ultimately, you guys, I think we are on our way to my initial price target of about $32.50 in the short term. I'm thinking this happens over the next 3 to 4 trading sessions. So maybe early to mid next week after 4th of July weekend, we do see about $32.50 to fill this area right here. So let's get rid of this guy and let's zoom out a little bit and talk my more medium and longer term targets. Okay, so CCIV initial target, the reason $32.50 is my target, just rough target, is because this area has acted as a historical ceiling for CCIV in the past. Okay, so you see us run up here, spend a lot of time around this $32.5, $33 level. We could call it $33 just to round up, or $32 just to round down. Play it a little safe, don't get greedy. So we'll just say $32 is my conservative short-term price target, because this area has once again acted as a historical ceiling for CCIV on its previous run up. So before we go on to the more medium-term time price targets, let's take a look at how CCIV has performed over the past few months. So if you guys have been following CCIV stock, this rally right here, this massive rally all the way up to $65 came following the initial news, following that initial kind of just throwing into the ether that they might be merging with Lucid Motors. So you do see this hype rally again. This is obviously very hype driven, very bubbly, because the bubble popped, huge gap down, which will come into play when we get into those medium and longer term price targets. This gap right here, massive gap down, probably one of the largest gaps I've ever seen, if I'm being completely honest. Gap down, and since then we have executed over a 73% correction and pretty much gone sideways for the better part of a few months now. Okay, since late March, we've been going relatively sideways. But again, that's what I love to see. This is a good example as well of a macro two-wave theory, you guys. Okay, first wave, bubble. This one's a lot more bubbly than this one back here. Bubble pops again. You see some capitulation. You see that kind of like psychological, the 5 stages of psychological grieving play out right here. And then now we're finally re-entering that bullish phase, that reaccumulation phase. This is the reaccumulation phase, I guess. But now we're entering that next wave, the second wave. And again, a lot of times the second wave is greater than the first one, especially with all of the fundamental momentum that's behind not only CCIV, but the entirety of the EV/green energy sector, okay? So again, first price target is going to be around $32 just because it has acted as a historical ceiling in the past. You can see right here on the bounce following that massive crash, we did bounce up and test it twice, acted as that ceiling. Now that we've broken out and surpassed the previous high on the short term, I think $32 is a very attainable price target. Once again, that I do think that will occur by about next week. And from current levels where we're at just under $29, that would be about a 12.5% increase from here. Okay, so let's go to my next price target. Boom, price range up. Next price target is going to be a potential 40% increase around the $40 level. Okay, so $40, nice psychological even. And the reason for that is because that's the bottom of this massive gap. So with a lot of EV plays right now, I did cover this in the last EV stock talk, talking about how gaps are going to be filled, and especially when things start to go parabolic, gaps do tend to play a more important role when you get into that blue sky territory. Okay, once again, it's kind of that same principle of just historic areas that have acted as ceilings and floors, but gap trading is very real, and every time that I've played a gap trade in a situation similar to this, they've usually played out pretty well. Okay. So the low end of this gap, which is going to be my next price target, is $40. So again, maybe in terms of how I think this will perform, come up to about $32.5, $33, probably pull back, retest this initial high, maybe. That would make sense after we hit like 32, 33, maybe come down in the short term, retest this initial high around $28, and then continue that rally up to about $40. Okay, so $40 first price target. Next price target is going to be an area over here where there was also kind of a gap, but not technically a gap. This is going to be a strong psychological even though, which is $50. And if you guys watch my top 3 stock picks for July video, this is my ultimate price target. But in all honesty, I do think that it's very possible that we close the top side of this gap as well. So this gap ranges from $55 to about $40. So again, massive gap. That's a crazy gap. I really don't recall ever seeing a gap that large on any chart that I've ever looked at. So this is a very impressive gap, which also does kind of discount just saying it'll fill the gap. So that's why I did kind of round out. I do think, just again, because I'm so fundamentally bullish on CCIV and Lucid at this moment in time, I would not be surprised if we veer toward the higher end of this gap. That's why $50 psychological even, once again, is my price target after $40. So $40 would be a 40% price increase from current levels. Let's see if I can move this down a little bit more. And then $50 would be about 80% from current levels. If we do fill the top end of that gap around $56, which I think is very possible as well. And when it comes to longer term price targets, you guys, I would not be surprised to see $100 CCIV or whatever Lucid, hopefully whatever Lucid's ticker symbol happens to be, probably like LCID or something, LUCD. But whatever their ticker symbol is, by year's end, I would not be surprised to see $100 CCIV by the end of the year if all goes accordingly. And that, of course, would take us, over a 3x from here, close to a 4x. Okay, so of course, you guys, I do want to put more focus on kind of the July timeframe, but by the end of July, I would not be surprised at all to see, I will say, a $50 CCIV. Just sticking to what I said back in the top 3 stocks video. That was my price target. $50 is my current price target, but I do think it's possible to hit 56 to hit in July. That's going to be a little questionable. I would say best case scenario for the month of July, if all goes accordingly, once again, is a 2x from current levels, which would take us up to about $55, okay? So that is that, you guys. Of course, if CCIV does perform like this, I'm going to be covering it a whole lot more. So once again, you guys, if you're still watching, I appreciate you. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. And definitely let me know in the comments down below if you're bullish on CCIV, what your price targets are, what your favorite model that Lucid Motors makes is, because, again, they make some sick models. And if there's other stocks in the EV/green energy sector that you're personally bullish on, that you're more bullish on, please let me know in the comments down below, because I always love that type of insight from you guys, okay? So I'll catch you downstairs in the comments. And until next time, always remember, take action, make waves. Peace, guys.